know what one of the most biologically diverse ecosystems in North America is? That would be the Indian River Lagoon, right here in our own backyards. Home to 2,100 species of plants and 2,200 species of animals. It stretches 156 miles long, starting at the Ponce de Leon Inlet up north in Volusia County, and all the way down south to the southern tip of Martin County where you have the Jupiter Inlet. With a waterway consisting of 685 different species of fish and so much area to cover, there's amazing game fishing to be had. And I'll be talking about three of the most popular ones to catch that even bring some tourists in. That would be snook, tarpon, and redfish. So first up, we have one of the best eating fishes that we have here in the river, and that would be the snook. As far as appearances go on the snook, they have a distinct black lateral line that runs down the length of the body. They have yellow fins, a pointed head, and silverish coloring for the rest of the body. They live in overhanging shorelines, mangrove forests, beaches, river mouths, nearshore reefs, salt marshes, and grass flats. Usually, you find the most snook between Port Canaveral, Florida, and the end of the Florida Keys, as well as the west coast of Florida. But every now and then, you'll find them as far north as New York and Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. As far as diet goes on these guys, they like to eat a lot of live fish, they like shrimp, and they like crabs, no matter the size of them. If you want to catch one of these, fishing around dock lights or fishing up underneath the mangroves, throw bottom jigs, swim baits, live mullet, live shrimp, and live crabs. As far as edibility on these guys go, really good, and they taste best when they're grilled or blackened. You have to be mindful, snook season is closed, and it opens up on August 1st. Slot on those guys is going to be 28 to 32. Just be mindful on that. Next up, we move on to the proclaimed silver king of the river, and that would be the tarpon. Tarpons are silver fish with shiny bodies. They have green or blue coloring on the tops of the bodies when they're found in full salt water, or they move more brackish or fresh water, they'll have a brassy tip to them. Usually you'll find them in coastal waters right offshore. You'll find them in bays, mangrove lagoons, and grass flats cruising. So tarpon are all over the Atlantic. You go across the pond, you go over to the coast of Africa, find them as far north as Senegal, far south as the Congo. And over here on the western side of the Atlantic, you'll find them as far north on rare occasions as Nova Scotia, although most commonly their limits about South Carolina. They'll go as far down south though as Argentina. So diet-wise, when they're babies, they'll eat small fish, small shrimp, and small crabs. But once they get to a bigger size, they become adults, they tend to stick to more mid-water species of fish. So they'll be eating your mullet, pinfish, catfish, needlefish, sardines, shrimp, and the crabs that swim up. So if you want to catch one of these guys, you can throw chunks of ladyfish or mullet down to the bottom with a sinker. Try and catch one that's picking off the bottom that isn't fully into the pelagic species of bait yet. Or you can throw out just regular live mullet, live pinfish, or you can throw white paddletails with the jig head. As far as edibility goes on these guys, you do not want to eat them. Limits are really strict on who can and who cannot keep them, but very bony fish, not worth eating, lots of pin bones. However, in South American countries where they don't really have as many laws on them, the locals like to eat them as a delicacy, but as far as here in America, they're a no-go. Lastly, we move on to the self-proclaimed bull of the river, the redfish. So, a large-bodied fish, so very full throughout the whole thing, looking top down, they're very round, almost like a pig. They're copper-colored with white underbellies and a dark eye spot over on the tail. They have a rounded head, compared to the snook especially, who has a very pointed head. So usually you find them in estuaries, river mouths, bays, sand bottoms, mud flats, seagrass beds, oyster beds, surf zones, and continental shelves. Pretty common everywhere. So as far as range goes, pretty set in stone, not too many random occurrences. Cape Cod, Massachusetts, down to Tuxpan, Mexico. As far as what they go to eat when in the wild, juveniles like to eat marine worms and small crustaceans like baby shrimp and baby crabs, maybe some fiddler crabs if they're here in the river. Adults like to eat more bony fishes, so they'll eat mullet and pinfish, blue crabs, shrimp. As they get bigger, the bigger the food. So if you want to catch some of these guys, throw a live shrimp, live pinfish, live mullet, or you can throw out white paddletails, like I said for the previous two, or gold spoons. Gold spoons work really well for these guys. edibility on them. They're good to eat. Kind of taste similar to snapper, but be mindful. Indian River Lagoon right now, as far as September 1st, 2022, they are illegal to keep. So, moving on to the baits and lures and all them shenanigans I was talking about earlier on how to catch these guys. So, you have live mullet. Usually you want to bring live mullet, live pinfish up through the mouth like this. This way they can still breathe. They'll go a little nose heavy and bring them towards the bottom. Or you bring them up on the lateral line closer to the tail, usually right above the anal fin. And that'll help them not dive down to the bottom, and they'll kind of swim up, try to swim up the whole time, making good action for them. You can rig shrimp through the back or the front, depends on how, if you're casting it. So if you rig it through the back, you usually want to put a sinker on to make it have that motion of going down. If you're only doing a hook, no sinker, usually they rig them up through the heads. Crabs, you want to rig them up through the bodies. Pretty simple, just put the hook somewhere through the body where you don't want to kill the crab. As far as artificials go, gold spoons, very good to use. You can get them anywhere. Walmart has them for $2 each. White paddle tails are the go-to for these three that I've talked about, or any fish in general, really. So, moving on, in conclusion, snook, tarpon, and redfish are some of the most famous inshore fishes that we have here in Florida. They're known for their size, the way they fight, and how they taste. So, you can't really go wrong catching any of them. I know that me, myself, I spend a lot of time outside on the river trying to catch them. That's what I'm doing after I record this speech. But I know a lot of other people do the same. They go fishing religiously, try to catch their monsters, tell their stories. There are many other good fish here in the river that you can catch. There's snapper, there's spotted sea trout, there's jacks, jack crevalle, bluefish. All of them are in the river. But those are for another time. We need to help protect ecosystems like we have here. This is a special place. We need to keep it safe, keep it good. This way, the species here don't only live, but they can thrive. Thank you guys for listening, and tight lines.